What's up, guys? We're here with Seagull of Team USA in the Overwatch World Cup. How was it working with new players and playing the game with the team that, you don't necessarily practice with?
It's always interesting playing with the new team because, there's that level of passive chemistry or intuition that you have with each other that people sometimes, if you play with the same guys for a long period of time, you build up like this intuition about how they play, and that's sort of like team chemistry. The weird thing about Team USA was, from the moment we first started playing, I felt like we had that. Like, we played off each other really well, and even though we had never, for the most part, ever played with each other, it was awesome. I was really surprised at how well we played together, given the amount of time we had to gel together as a team.
Talking about strategy, how's the meta work with this whole big tournament scene? Like, how do you approach that?
It really comes down to a lot of different factors. The biggest one is going to be, what are your strengths for each individual player? For example, do you have like a really good Genji player? Or in South Korea's case, do you have a really good Winston player in terms of Miro? And once you figure out your strengths as a team, you can go on the map and be like, all right, we're going to defend this objective. How do we want to use our strengths to our best possible way? You look at Teplovanuba's defense with Korea. They have a Winston player who's probably the best Winston in the world. So what they do is they play a very Winston-oriented defense in a way where he plays much more forward than the rest of the team just to harass, even from the very beginning, and they focus a lot of resources into making sure he stays alive so that he can build his support's ultimates. And so they all set up on the point in a specific way that allows them to support him, which is really awesome. And I feel like all teams can learn something from that. You use your strengths as best you can, you play off of them, and you take it one step at a time.
Let's talk about the eLeague. So they announced eLeague here at Blizzcon 2016. How do you feel about the eLeague?
They haven't announced a super big amount of details yet. They've announced a decent amount though, and honestly, it's exciting. To look at that and see that Blizzard is willing to take Overwatch esports that seriously, and they're willing to invest that much, and they're just like, we believe in it, we're gonna do it, be ready, is like, it's awesome. You look at other games and there's not necessarily a solid progression from becoming an amateur player to a professional player. For the Overwatch League, they look at it as like, okay, we're just going to look at the ladder, we're going to take the high end of the ladder, put them in a combine, see how they stack up versus each other, and then whoever's in the league will have to recruit from that, and it's like, that's awesome.
Talking about that, just real quick, how did you make that step?
Well, I've been playing games my whole life, so that's the biggest one. I started playing FPS probably competitively when I was like 12 years old or something like that. Before this, I played a game called Team Fortress 2, and in that game, I played it off and on, went to all these tournaments as like an amateur player for like 6 or 7 years because we didn't have a professional scene in that game. When it came to this game, being professional kind of like fell in my lap almost. Like, I want to be a professional. That was the goal from the very beginning of Overwatch. I want to be a pro player. I want to do this for a living. I want to live that life. But the way it happened was like, all right, I'm in university, Overwatch beta comes out, my stream just kind of explodes, and it's just like, all right, I guess I could be a streamer now, and that was incredible, and that's sort of how I fell into it.
It was a pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. NGN, let's go.